Attention seniors, starting July 2027, a quiet payment shift could cost you $9,180 without warning. Last week, a 72-year-old named Ruth in Denver, Colorado got a strange call. Her bank said her deposit changed and her balance didn't match her budget. She sat at the kitchen table, feeling embarrassed, scared, and completely powerless. What shocked her most was how normal the change looked on paper. Before we go further, stop for 5 seconds and check something for me. If you're not subscribed, you're gambling with your financial future. The next update I post could save you serious money and stress, but you won't see it in time unless you're subscribed. Click subscribe right now, then come straight back here with me. Here's the real issue you're facing right now with Social Security. It's not one simple change, like a yearly bump you can predict. It's several adjustments hitting different parts of your payment at once. Some changes affect your base benefit, and others change deductions and timing, so your deposit can rise, fall, or look off for confusing reasons. And that confusion is dangerous because it makes you freeze and do nothing. When you don't understand a change, you assume it must be correct. You tell yourself it'll fix itself, or someone will contact you eventually. But the system doesn't work like that, especially with millions paid monthly. If you wait, you may lose money you were supposed to receive. One group gets hit hardest, and they often don't even know why. It's retirees who worked in jobs that didn't pay Social Security taxes. Think public service careers with separate pensions and different withholding rules. Your Social Security record can still exist, but offsets may reduce benefits. And unless you were taught this years ago, it feels like a punishment. Let me tell you about Patricia. She's 71 years old and lives in Seattle, Washington with her sister. She taught in public schools for decades and earned a modest pension. When she claimed Social Security, her payment looked smaller than expected. She assumed she misunderstood, and she tried cutting expenses instead. 2 months ago, Patricia noticed a change after a normal deposit day. Her payment rose by $143, but her bank deposit rose only $28. She felt hopeful, then confused, then suddenly nervous about a mistake, so she logged in, stared at numbers, and couldn't tell what changed. She tried calling once, got stuck on hold, and gave up. Then it got worse in a way she didn't see coming. A letter arrived saying her benefit record was under review for adjustments. The letter didn't clearly explain what that meant for her next checks. Patricia panicked and worried she'd owe $4,790 back to the government. She called again and heard, "Wait for processing," like that solved anything. Here's what frustrates me about stories like Patricia's. She worked, paid taxes, and served her community for decades. Yet the rules are written so complicated that you feel guilty asking questions. The system acts like clarity is a luxury, not something you deserve. That lack of plain language steals money, peace, and confidence from you. Patricia finally did something that changed everything for her. She requested a full benefit breakdown and asked about pension-related offsets. She also asked if any recalculation or correction was pending on her file. 3 weeks later, her payment increased by $196 each month going forward, and she received a separate deposit of $3,250 she didn't expect. Now, I'm not saying every case ends like Patricia's. Some people discover the adjustment was correct, and that hurts to learn. But even then, you gain control because you stop guessing and start planning. The worst outcome is staying confused while your bills keep coming. Clarity is the first form of protection you can give yourself. Let's talk about another reason your deposit may look different. You might see a benefit increase, then feel like it vanished instantly. That's usually because the deduction side changes at the same time. Medicare premiums, tax withholdings, and garnishments can shift with little notice. So your gross amount can rise while your net deposit barely moves. Let me tell you about Thomas. He's 74 years old and lives in Charlotte, North Carolina with his wife. He checks his bank account every month like clockwork, same morning routine. 1 month he expected a higher deposit and saw only $19 more. His stomach dropped because groceries alone had jumped nearly $60 recently. Thomas thought someone stole money or changed his payment behind his back. He called his bank first, then called his insurance provider, then felt stuck. He spent a full afternoon bouncing between phone menus and vague answers. He said, "I feel like I'm being played and nobody will explain it." That kind of stress can ruin your sleep and you know it. Then came the escalation that made Thomas truly angry. He received a notice showing a higher benefit amount than his deposit. Another page showed a higher medical premium being taken out automatically. So his raise was real, but a different deduction ate most of it. He realized he was budgeting off the wrong number for months. This makes me angry because it's set up to confuse normal people. You shouldn't need a calculator and 3 websites to understand your own money. When the deposit changes, you deserve one clear sentence explaining why. Instead, you get tiny print, vague labels, and a promise to wait. That's not service, and it's not respect for your time. Thomas fixed it by focusing on the right 2 numbers. He checked his gross benefit amount and his net deposit after deductions. Then he wrote down each deduction and confirmed it matched his coverage. He also adjusted tax withholding, which freed up $87 per month immediately. Now he says the biggest win was finally knowing what he's looking at. Quick pause for me, because this part matters for everyone watching. What state are you watching from today, and where do you live now? Drop your state name in the comments right now, even if it's short. Rules and offices can vary, and I want to know who I'm serving. Your comment also helps this reach people who truly need it. Next, you need to understand the working while collecting trap. If you're receiving benefits before your full retirement age, limits can apply. Earn too much, and the system may hold back part of your checks. Later, they may credit it back, but that doesn't help you today. And the limit can change, so last year's advice can hurt you now. Let me tell you about Nancy. She's 69 years old and lives in Austin, Texas, near her grandkids. She took a part-time job because prices rose and her savings felt tight. She carefully limited hours because she feared losing benefits she depended on. Then she noticed her deposit still dropped, even with fewer hours worked. Nancy felt sick because she thought she messed up something permanently. She worried she'd lose $8,140 over the year and never recover it. Her first move was to stop working, even though she liked the job. She felt ashamed, like she had broken a rule she didn't understand. That's the kind of fear that makes you shrink your life. Then the escalation hit her at the worst possible moment. Her car needed repairs, and her deposit was smaller again that month. She called her local office and learned her income was reported differently. A delayed wage report made it look like she earned more in 1 month, and that triggered withholding, even though her yearly plan was careful. Here's what frustrates me about how this is handled. You're expected to predict how your employer will report wages perfectly. You're expected to know limits that can update, then apply them correctly. And when the system holds money, you're told it's temporary, like that helps. Meanwhile, your rent and utilities aren't temporary, and you know that. Nancy solved it with a simple but powerful set of actions. She asked her employer for wage reporting details and kept a monthly log. She also reported expected earnings directly and updated it when hours changed. Within 2 cycles, her withholding stopped, and she regained $312 each month. Now she works smarter, not scared, and her budget finally feels stable. Now let's talk about something unglamorous that can cost you big money. Your address and direct deposit details decide where notices and payments go. If your information is outdated, letters can go to the wrong place. And if a payment gets rejected, it may not magically reroute to you. You often have to catch the problem and request a reissue. Let me tell you about George. He's 76 years old and lives in Milwaukee, Wisconsin in a small apartment. He moved last year after his landlord sold the building unexpectedly. He updated his bank, updated his doctor, and thought everything was handled. But he forgot one thing, and it turned into a costly mess. George was expecting a special adjustment deposit he'd been told might arrive. Instead, he got nothing. Then a second month passed with no change. He assumed the government was just slow, so he kept waiting. Then he learned the payment tried to go to a closed account. That's when panic turned into real anger, because nobody had warned him clearly. The escalation came when George tried fixing it quickly. He called, waited, and finally heard that his address was still the old one. That meant letters were being mailed to a place he no longer lived. He felt exposed, like his personal information was floating around without control. And the longer it took, the more he feared losing $6,975 permanently. This makes me angry because a simple update should be simple. You shouldn't need 3 calls and 2 forms to change a bank account. When seniors move, life is already stressful and expensive. The system should help you protect your money, not punish you for relocating. Yet the burden is placed on you to chase your own records. George fixed it, but it took persistence and a clear plan. He updated his address and banking online, then confirmed it by phone later. He asked for a payment trace and requested the funds be reissued. Within a few weeks, he received $6,575, and his monthly deposit normalized. Now he tells friends, update everything before you need it. And he's right. So far, you've seen the pattern behind every story. A deposit changes, and you feel fear because you don't know why. Then anger kicks in when you realize how hard clarity is to get. But here's the hopeful part, because you can prevent most of this. You just need a repeatable method, not luck and not perfect timing. The first piece of hope is that your account usually contains the answers. You can see your gross benefit, your net deposit, and your deductions. You can also see messages, notices, and sometimes pending changes. Most people never look because they assume deposits are the full story. But the deposit is the last line, not the explanation. The second piece of hope is that many errors are actually fixable delays. A recalculation can be pending, wage reporting can be mismatched, or deductions can shift. Those aren't always permanent losses, but they become permanent if ignored. When you act early, you shrink the time you're underpaid or confused. That's how you protect your budget and your peace of mind. Real quick, if this is helping you, do something small for me. Hit the like button so this reaches more seniors who need it. The algorithm pushes videos that get strong engagement early and consistently. That means more people avoid missing money they've already earned. It takes 2 seconds and it helps more than you think. Now I want you to watch out for a sneaky emotional trap. When your payment changes, scammers often strike during the confusion. They'll call pretending to be verification and push you to confirm information. They'll demand urgency, threaten penalties, and use fear to control you. If you're unsure, slow down and verify through official channels only. You also need to understand that increase doesn't always mean more cash. Your gross number can rise while taxes or medical premiums rise too. Your net deposit might look lower even when your benefit technically increased. That's why comparing only bank deposits month to month can mislead you. You need to compare statements, not just balances, to see the full picture. And here's a painful truth most retirees never hear directly. Many people are eligible for adjustments because their work history is complex. Public pensions, spousal benefits, survivor benefits, and past earnings can interact strangely. If you have mixed employment, your file is more likely to need review. That doesn't mean you did anything wrong, but you must pay attention. If you've ever thought, my payment seems low for my work history, listen closely. That feeling is often your first clue that something is missing or offset. Sometimes it's a legitimate rule, and sometimes it's a record issue. Either way, you deserve an answer in plain English that you can use. You're not asking for special treatment, you're asking for basic clarity. This is where hope turns into empowerment for you. You don't need to be a lawyer, accountant, or former SSA employee. You just need a checklist you can follow in 30 minutes a week. When you approach it calmly, the system becomes less scary. And the moment you understand your numbers, your stress drops immediately. Think of someone you care about while I say this. A parent, a sibling, a neighbor, or that friend who never checks statements. If they miss a payment change, they may not notice for months. Share this video with them right now before you forget later. Text the link now because it could save them real money fast. Now I'm going to give you the exact steps you can take. You don't need to do everything today, so don't overwhelm yourself. But you do need to start with step 1 this week. Get a pen, open your notes app, and write these down. Ready? Because this is where you take control back from confusion. Here's exactly what you need to do. I'm giving you 5 steps that are simple and specific. You don't need to do everything today, but start with step 1. Write these down because your future self will thank you later. Ready to protect your money and your peace? Let's begin now and keep it practical and calm together. Step 1. Log into your Social Security account and view your benefit details. Write down your gross benefit amount and your net deposit after deductions. Then list every deduction shown, including medical premiums and tax withholding. If any deduction is unfamiliar, don't guess, because guessing creates expensive mistakes. Call the listed program or provider and ask what changed and why. Do this by Friday, because delays can drag out for months. Step 2. If you ever had a pension from non-Social Security work, request an explanation. Ask whether any pension-related offset is affecting your retirement, spouse, or survivor benefits. Use plain words like, please explain why my amount is reduced, step by step. If a recalculation or correction is pending, ask for an estimated processing window. Then ask what documents, if any, would speed up review for your case. Make this request this week because pending items can sit quietly too long. Step 3. If you're working while receiving benefits, track earnings month by month. Ask your employer how wages are reported and when reports are sent. Report expected yearly earnings through official channels and update when hours change. If a holdback happens, ask what triggered it and what proof can correct it. Keep pay stubs in a folder because you may need them later. Don't quit work out of fear because fear is usually the expensive choice. Step 4. Confirm your address, phone number, and direct deposit details are current. Don't assume a past update carried over after a move or bank change. If you recently relocated, verify the update both online and by phone. If a payment was rejected or mailed wrong, request a trace and reissue. Ask for confirmation of the new details and write down the confirmation date. Do this before the next deposit cycle, so mistakes don't repeat again. Step 5. Create a simple monthly money check routine you follow every single time. On deposit day, compare your bank amount to your net benefit amount. Then compare your net amount to your gross amount and review any changes. If something doesn't match your expectations, take action within 7 days. You can even ask a trusted family member to sit with you once. This routine protects you because consistency beats panic every single time. Let's review what we covered so you leave with clear understanding. Multiple moving parts can change your deposit without obvious explanation. Offsets, deductions, working limits, and outdated information can all shift money. You now know to check gross versus net, not just your bank deposit. You also know when to ask about pensions, recalculations, and wage reporting. Millions face these issues each year, and most never learn the pattern. You have information worth thousands, and you can use it starting this week. And I want to leave you with one final punch. Confusion is not your fault, but ignoring it becomes your responsibility. The system is built for scale, not for your peace of mind. So you must be the person who double-checks, asks, and follows up. You don't need to be loud, but you do need to be consistent. That's how you protect your independence, your dignity, and your daily life. If this helped, here's what to do next. Subscribe so you catch the next update before it's too late. Share this with someone who might miss a change in their deposit. Comment your state or situation below because I read and learn from it. Your engagement helps other seniors find this information before money disappears. And if you want more videos like this, tell me what topic worries you most. Important disclaimer: this video is educational only, not legal, financial, tax, or medical advice. Every situation differs, and rules can vary widely by state and program. Consult licensed professionals like attorneys, CPAs, or financial advisors before acting. What works for one person may not work for another person. Double-check details through official sources and never rely on one video alone.